Today wasn't impressively better than the day before. Um, I'm not sure again how long this small slump is going to last, but it certainly was not really any better breakthrough today than I'd had in the past day or two here. These things, unfortunately, are just not things that work themselves out. I think with actual effort. I don't think you can brute force or just kind of grit your way through something like basically like a creative block. When it comes to ideas, it's a lot of it is very zen. A lot of it is very this sort of like very yin sort of mentality. You have to kind of just wait for it to happen to a degree. Once you get the idea, you can go crazy, do all, put the effort in, write every day, and grind through it, but you got to have the idea first. Despite that, though, I will say, despite this sort of writing slump, I've come to this, I guess, almost paradoxical realization that this has definitely been some of the best times of my writing career right now. Just in terms of happiness, like just in terms of the progress here and the process that we're going through. Certainly last spring during my sabbatical, I see all the time that was the best time of my writing life, probably the best time of my general life. But right now it feels awesome. Right now my life feels very, very good, and I think the reason for it, despite this sort of this small kind of like block that I'm in right now, is that I have the habits in the style of my life in a way that promotes a sense of happiness. That I talk a lot about the loving the process, and I think it's the same idea. I think right now for me, it's not just loving the process, but the fact that I have structured my life in a way where I'm able to go to the keyboard each day with enthusiasm. I don't. At this point, there's no willpower involved. At this point, it is simply passion that gets me here. And yes, I'm still reaching for a goal. Yes, I'm still moving towards something. I'm still pushing myself in a way. It's certainly not as fun as just waking up every day and writing just to be happy and just writing just to entertain myself. No, I am still writing towards an audience. I'm still trying to get this stuff published. But despite this sort of block that I'm in right now, I still feel extremely joyful. I don't dread the keyboard. I don't have to pull myself to it. Certainly there are days, you're tired, you had a bad day, whatever. Yeah, they're gonna happen. But overall, especially now, I've noticed it's starting. I feel happy. I just feel very, very happy. It's a very kind of calm, sort of mellow happiness, but it seems to have informed just about everything in this process. I think a lot of people tend to view happiness and success within those contexts, within the context of achievement, that it is actually something, like there's an actual thing that can make you happy. And I found that it's not really a thing that makes you happy. It's more the way you've orientated your life. It's more of the way that you kind of conduct yourself day to day. It's more about your general character and the things that exist in your life that inform it every day. And certainly writing is not the whole thing. Your hobby, your dream job is not the whole thing either. I mean, you can still, enjoy, writing 1 hour or 90 minutes or 2 hours a day and be miserable the rest of it, right? It's more than that. It's a series of small things that you kind of have. And I think for me, what I've found is that in this process, not just of writing, but just in general, a lot of it is trial and error, and it's being very aware of it. It's finding out, okay, I didn't enjoy that. I didn't like that thing. Okay, let's not do it anymore. Sounds very, very simple, but I think a lot of people put themselves in positions in life where they kind of suffer through a lot of unnecessary things and things that make them miserable, and they just do it and they tell themselves, yeah, it's no big deal, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm going through this, it's no big deal, but it just persistently makes you miserable. I know for me, and the reason why I'm kind of thinking about this more and more is just yesterday I ended up quitting my fantasy football league. I got a league with my buddies. We've been doing it for years and years, and I finally said this year I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. The reason for it is simply just we have like a giant chat like thing on Facebook, like it's a giant messenger chat, and for like the 16 weeks of the football season, it is unbearable. Like every single day, people will blow that up with trash talk, with just stuff day in and day out, because we work different shifts. A couple of my buddies actually aren't even employed; they're medically retired from the military. You have some people basically that have all the free time, and others that work all the time, and it was this persistent thing that I noticed with myself that was just making me miserable. Like I'd be like, okay, the first couple of weeks it's fun, it's engaging, right? Because we're somewhat spread out. We don't see each other too much ever in person, collectively together. So it's fun to kind of, first couple weeks is kind of fun to see everybody and to interact and all that stuff and to trash talk. But like 6, 7 weeks in, I am like, the season's not even half over, and I'm already like dreading it and telling myself I want to be out. It was happening year after year after year, the past few years consistently. And I was always like, oh god, this makes me so miserable. And my falls like were just awful. Like I was just miserable. I was thinking about so much about that. It took up so much of my mental capacity to deal with all these problems and all these headaches. And eventually this year I was like, okay, look, what are you getting out of this? Yeah, you enjoy the camaraderie with your buddies. Yeah, you can still see them. You can still have fun. But really, what are you actually getting out of this? What are you actually enjoying? And for me, it was just simply like none of it. I'm getting tired of it. You can only hear somebody talk about how much they're going to sexually violate your team this week, so many times before you go, okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, you think you're gonna win, whatever. And of course, when I win, because I'm generally pretty good at that. Pretty good at the game of fantasy football. But yeah, generally when I win, there's no catharsis, right? There's no payoff. They don't suddenly go, okay, we'll stop smack talking. It's nope, that was a fluke, whatever. You got lucky, and then it's move on to the next week, right? It's just annoying. It's very, very annoying. And it just, like I said, I was finding it was trying my patience, and so officially I am done with that. But it was a good examination. Like, I think there's a lot of people that do things like that. You think it's a very trivial thing I just mentioned here, but I think a lot of people have scenarios like that outside of the writing world, outside of your creative world. I think you have scenarios where it's these things that you think are very, very small. It's like, oh, come on, just have a little bit of fun. Yeah, you gotta grin and bear it, right? It's life. You don't always get to do everything you want to enjoy. You have some obligations and all that stuff in life, and we tend to treat these things that way. But what comes out of that is so much annoyance, and it affects so much of your life in very small ways that if you're not aware of it, if you don't really consciously sit there and go, okay, why am I a little agitated today? Was it because I was up till like 10 o'clock last night on this chat forum, or on this messenger thing here, listening to my buddies smack talk one another, and getting a couple of giggles out of it, but ultimately just tried my patience today, and now I'm waking up the next day feeling all agitated or tired or whatever? Yeah, you have to look at those things. And so much of it is just that. Like, so much of it is unnecessary drama. So much of I think things that we get involved in that are obligations are like unnecessary, just pains. And man, happiness comes, I think, from getting rid of those. Just waking up day to day and going about your life without having to worry about those small things, without having to deal with those small things. Yeah, obviously you're still going to have challenges and all that stuff. My life is nowhere near perfect, and I'm still, you've seen me on here, talking about, my frustration with having to sort of do a day job and pursue this. My kind of frets and issues with the publishing process, all that. You hear me all the time talk about that. So by no means does life ever get perfect, and you're still facing these kind of challenges all the time. But your overall mood, your overall just disposition, I think, becomes very, very happy when you can identify the things that exist in your life that you can get rid of, that you perhaps can get rid of. And so, I'm not sure really how to end this, but if you yourself are going through this process and you find that there are things that are derailing you, especially on a creative level, derailing your creativity, get rid of it. Like, try if you can to cut them out. The other side of it is awesome. The other side, being able to wake up and just have just like a 5% better disposition is huge. I really do think it is. So I guess that's enough ranting for today. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be back and we'll finally have some sort of breakthrough here, because as happy as I am, we're a little bit stuck right now. We gotta get this vehicle out of the mud. So tomorrow we'll be back and we'll keep spinning these tires.